Hello YouTube, it's Mirak here, and this is part 3 of the community card reveals, and let's get right to it. 5 mana, Druid Legendary, Duskfallen Aviana. This is much worse than her original Aviana, where all your minions cost 1. Remember, all of your minions, not yours and the opponent's. So, Duskfallen Aviana, the first card each player plays each turn is free. 3 attack and 7 health. So when you initially play this, on turn 5, you're giving your opponent a free card. So they can get rid of this for free, which is the biggest downside of this card. And I guess is to your benefit too, where they use their resources to get rid of it. So there's that. But the dream scenario, you play this on 5, then the opponent's turn, they have 6 mana and a free card, so if they don't get rid of this, and then you get to play on your turn, you get to do this, Ultimate Infestation, which is the biggest benefit, since this would be for free. So another card that would be good if it was free would be like Coon, but that is rotating out. Overall, I do not think this is a good card. I mean, it should really just say the first card you play on the start of each turn is free. And that would make sense. But for the opponent to have a free card as well, it doesn't make sense. I don't like it. A Hunter Secret, traditionally costing 2 mana, Epic Rat Trap Secret. After your opponent plays 3 cards in a turn, summon a 6/6 rat, which on the cover, a 6/6 rat is pretty strong. But realistically, your opponent is going to play 1 or 2 cards, say in the early game, but even in the late game, optimally you can play 1, 2, or even 3 or 4 cards. But if you're like a combo priest or a miracle rogue, for example, you are facing a combo priest, they can do 3 cards like a cleric, a coin, and a radiant elemental, which all of them would be standard. And then you get this rat summoned, and guess what the priest can do? They can just Twilight Acolyte, which you would have, which the priest would have to have a dragon in hand, basically swap the minion's attack, this minion's attack, with the other minions, which would be the 6/6 rat. So instead, the rat would be a 2/6, and then this will be a 6/4. So the next step for the priest will be doing is Potion of Madness, Divine Spirit, and another Divine Spirit, and then finally they either flip the health and the attack, or just Inner Fire the rat, which would be a 24 rat that has charge. But wait a minute, Potion of Madness is rotating out, so that's the biggest benefit. So how does the priest steal the 2/6 rat? In essence, I don't think they do. But regardless, it's a 2/6 rat now. So it's the biggest downside. if you're facing priest. For any other class, you probably wouldn't even get a chance to see the rat. I mean, if you do, your opponent can just get rid of it. So, it's okay because it enables your opponent to use their resources. So that is the biggest benefit for you, where they use the resources on this 2/6 rat rather than something more stronger, or rather a 6/6 rat if you're not facing a priest that doesn't do this combo. Anyways, it's a pretty decent card, but most of the time it will be dead. There's another hunter spell, 4 mana rare, Wing Blast. Deal 4 damage to a minion, which isn't that strong, just like that, but continue reading. If a minion died this turn, this spell costs only 1 mana. But remember, this goes to a minion, so this is just like 1 mana Arcane Blast. So if you have spell damage, it becomes 4 damage to a minion, which it saw some play, but Arcane Blast would have seen more play if it was going to the opponent's face rather than just a minion. I mean, controlling the board is okay, but the hunter would rather be doing that. This also reminds me of Dragon's Breath, but the difference between Dragon's Breath and Wing Blast is that Dragon's Breath can go face, but it still didn't see that much play. So 5 mana, deal 4 damage. It does cost cheaper if minions died this turn. So that's the only similarity with Wing Blast. Only difference is, like I said, Wing Blast does not go face. So that's the biggest downside. But overall, it's still a 1 mana, optimally deal 4 damage to a minion and kill it. So that's the biggest benefit. So how often will this card see play? It'll be seeing some play, but overall this card can be weak. Another really weak card is 3 mana neutral epic, Witch's Cauldron. Has 0 attack and 4 health, so after a friendly minion dies, add a random shaman spell to your hand, which is nice being neutral, but overall, I don't think it's gonna see play. To be honest with you, I think I can just replace Witch's Cauldron with Warwalker Choke, which was a 0 attack and 4 health minion that cost 2 mana, and it was a legendary. So every time you or your opponent plays a spell, you get the spell, or you get the copy of that particular spell, which is definitely more stronger than this, because you play this Witch's Cauldron. I mean, how often with this in play, your friendly minion will die? I mean, the opponent can just get rid of this. So it's definitely really weak. But if the opponent gets rid of a Lorewalker Cho with a spell, you get a copy of that spell. So overall, I really don't see this being played much, but if it does get played, and one of your friendly minion dies, one of the best spells you can get is Volcano, which is one of the strongest shaman spells out there other classes can use. Other than that, other shaman spells are just terrible. in other classes, especially the other totem spells, unless you are running the amalgam, the nightmare amalgam, which is the only synergy. If you do get totem synergy spells, but regardless, that's really a big if. Even if you have the nightmare amalgam, or even somehow a friendly minion dies and you get volcano, I just don't like it. I just don't really think Witch's Cauldron will see much play. I mean, for memes and whatever, sure. I mean, there's still more cards to be released in the expansion. So we'll see if this works. But most likely, I really don't think it will work out. 5 mana, priest, rare, spell, holy water. Deal 4 damage to a minion. If that kills it, add a copy of that particular minion to your hand. Well, the only really play that I can see is you have the opponent has a Ysera on board, and you somehow flip it, then kill it with holy water, then you add a copy of Ysera to your hand, which just like that is quite strong. But how often that will happen? Not very rarely. I mean, just by itself, a 4 health minion will be pretty weak most of the time, but there is some potential with future cards, maybe, but overall right now, I don't think it's a good card. I mean, at least it is a rare, but honestly, why do we want to give Priest more tools to steal your stuff? I don't really like it. Priest does not need more mechanics like this. So we'll see how it works and how efficient it can be. So this card also reminds me of Arcane Blast. Yet again, it is quite similar because it deals the same amount of damage to a minion if the Arcane Blast has spell damage on the board somehow. So there's that. I mean, this Arcane Blast is 1 mana, and Holy Water is 5 mana. So there's that big downside. There's also another card this reminds me of is Quick Shot, which was a hunter spell, deal 3 damage for 2 mana, which is comparably, Quick Shot is really much stronger, and it draws a card. So in effect, if Holy Water kills something, you are basically drawing that card into your hand, which 5 mana, deal 4 damage, and draw a card. It's weird. And it is really quite expensive to do that when you could just play the Dragonfire potion for 6 mana, but Dragonfire is not standard anymore, or will not be standard anymore since Dragonfire potion is Gadgetzan. So there's that, but how often Holy Water will work is not that much, to be honest with you. On the upside, there is this 4 mana Hunter common spell, Dire Frenzy. Give a beast +3/+3. Also shuffle 3 copies of that particular beast into your deck with that buff, +3/+3. Immediately comes to my mind is Stone Tusk Boar. So 1 mana 1/1 beast with charge. So on turn 5, you play the boar, then you cast Dire Frenzy on it. All of a sudden this boar becomes a 4 attack 4 health minion beast with charge, so that's quite powerful for 1 mana. Also, you shuffle 3 more copies of that particular boar with that particular buff. And another card which will work perfectly with this is, surprise, surprise, Tol'vir Warden, which is a 5 mana hunter minion battlecry. Draw 2 1-cost minions from your deck. So the only 1-cost minions are these boars. So this would be a mid-rangey deck because you could put the more expensive beasts as well. So this deck might be really strong. Now, a 5 mana neutral legendary Dollmaster Dorian. It has 2 attack and 6 health. So whenever you draw a minion, summon a 1/1. The biggest keyword is whenever you draw a minion, not just get something like a 1/1, like say you were playing Barnes, which its battle cry is summon a 1/1 copy of a random minion in your deck, which the difference between Dorian and Barnes is that Barnes is 1 mana cheaper, 1 attack stronger, but 2 health weaker. But it doesn't come with the battle cry, rather Dorian is just the text whenever you draw a minion. Sure, you can play this with Minstrel. So you play Dorian, then you play Minstrel, draw 2 minions, but you also summon 1/1 copies of those cards. This might be more in the meme territory. So the strategy is with Dorian is you don't care if you win or lose games. So overall, I really don't see this as a replacement for Barnes, since Barnes is rotating out. It's definitely weaker because Dorian is really reliant on card draw and drawing minions. So I don't know. It might see some play. It might not see some play. But I think you'll be seen more as a meme card in meme decks. Not particular to win games, like I just said a minute ago. So I don't like this card to be on the competitive level. On to some Warlock cards that have kind of the same effect. At the start of your turn, deal 1 damage to your hero, which would be nice with the Spellstone. And these 2 minions. 3 mana common Duskbat. It's 2 attack and 4 health. Battlecry. If your hero took damage this turn, which would take damage from the previous card, or even Librarian. And if you did take damage on this turn, you summon 2 1/1 bats, which of course those bats also have the beast tagline, which doesn't really fare too well in Warlock, but overall it's okay. Another card that works similar to this but has some differences is Deathweb Spider, a 5 mana epic battlecry. If your hero took damage this turn again from the witch, or even the librarian, the spider gains lifesteal. And if it is ever relevant, it is also a beast. So 4 attack, lifesteal for 5 mana with 6 health can be quite sticky. So if you have the Spellstone in your hand, you play Witch, then the next turn that Witch is in play, you can either play Duskpat or Spider, which is nice. And we'll see if there are other spells or minions that have the well, I would call this bloodletting. I'm not really sure if Blizzard will ever make a tagline for that, like Lifesteal or Battle Cry or Death Rattle, to name a few. So those bold words are taglines. I mean, keywords is the right term for it. And it's quite strong. All of these are quite strong, and of course Librarian is really strong, but can this ever see play in the control Warlock archetype? Maybe, but doubtful, since the core Cube Warlock and even Control Warlock, which will be the more popular term for that deck, since the Insoft is rotating, and Mistress of Mixtures, so the healing go away. So maybe the Deathlip Spider could replace the Mistress. That's a big maybe. But if it does, it's pretty strong. Basically, it does the effect of the Mistress of Mixtures every time you attack with this. So that is nice. But it is 5 attack comparative to Mistress of Mixtures, which was, or still is, 1 mana. So 1 mana gain for life if the Mistress dies is quite strong, but if Deathlip Spider somehow sticks on the board for more than 2 turns, that's really powerful. 7 mana Shaman Epic minion, Bog Shaper. Whenever you cast a spell, draw a minion from your deck, which is also an elemental with 4 attack and 8 health, so this can stick around. So in effect, I would really want to work with Unstable Evolution. So you play Bog Shaper on turn 7, then you play a Totem on turn 8, then evolve it with Unstable Evolution as much as your hand allows, since every time you cast Unstable Evolution, you'll also draw a card. Draw a minion, rather. So I was thinking about this, and why isn't Bog Shaper just a neutral? Because this would be really strong neutral card, or even the Hunter card, which there are plenty of cheap and well-made Hunter spells, and you draw minions. So Hunter is definitely lacking some card draw, except for Tol'vir Warden, and that's about it, really. So overall, Bog Shaper being a Shaman card makes Shaman a little stronger, since you draw minions from your deck every time you cast a spell. So I think the most efficient way is to do what I said. You play Bog Shaper on 7, and turn 8 you, like I said, Totem and Unstable Evolution and draw a lot of cards. Or minions, rather, so there's that strength. This is more of an control archetype, or even mid-rangey type of deck, but to see this in the aggro deck is really unlikely, which Shaman definitely needs some help from the aggro archetype, since Evolved Shaman is rotating out, or basically half of his deck is being killed. So we'll see how Evolved Shaman can really shape up with just Unstable Evolution, and another key card is the Corridor Creeper. So that has made a comeback somewhat in Evolve Shaman, but other than that, Evolve Shaman is basically dead. So somehow you morph that Evolve Shaman into more of a mid-range Shaman deck with Bog Shaper and the Creepers, but you can no longer have things from below either, so you can't do that anymore either, which thing from below really made Shaman shine this past year, except for this most recent expansion. The next expansion, we'll see if Corridor Creeper can still be in this deck. So time will tell. So there are some cards that work exactly like the Pumpkin Peasant, which each turn this is in your hand, swap its attack and health. So I'm gonna call that the Worgen form, since the Pumpkin Peasant, once it is 4 attack and 2 health, it becomes a Worgen. So I'm gonna call that the Worgen form now. So Gilnead Royal card, 8 mana, neutral rare, which can be sticky if you play as a 3/8, but if it is an 8/3 Worgen form, you're basically trading into a minion. Now the biggest question I have for Rush is, well, I brought this up before, is if you have a Rush minion, of course it can't go face on the first turn that you play it from hand, but my biggest question is, the next turn a Rush minion survives, does it? I mean, can you attack face at that point? I mean, if it does, it's pretty decent, if that is the right terminology for Rush. Like, you can't attack heroes on the turn you play it, which makes this card balanced. So this Gilnead Royal Guard has Divine Shield and Rush. So you can trade into something and it survives, rather it being a 3 attack minion or an 8 attack minion. So it's quite strong either way, but of course it's more stronger if it has 8 attack. But a 3 attack minion on turn 8, it's not really that good. So another card with the Worgen type is Swift Messenger. It has half the cost for 4 mana neutral for 2 attack and 6 health with Rush as well, but no Divine Shield. So this can be a 2 attack minion or a 6 attack minion, which preferably you can play this as a 6 attack card. Basically a Leroy Jenkins that doesn't summon the dragons, or go face for 1 mana less and being a neutral. So it's definitely cheaper than Leroy, but it is decent and balanced. That doesn't go face right away. Instead you just trade something. Which controlling at the 4 mana slot is quite good, if I say so myself. And one more Worgen mode card is Spell Shifter, which is even cheaper at 2 mana. Also a common, a neutral common. It also has 1 attack, but it has 4 health, which for 2 mana less than the messenger and having only 2 fewer health is quite decent. So it can be a 1 attack minion or a 4 attack minion. And immediately comes to my mind is Defile Potential, if this has 1 health. But even though you might not have a 4 health minion to clear the board with Defile, so it takes some math to figure out which way would work with Defile the best, which would be quite awkward if you're trying to remove the board and this has 4 health and you don't have a 1 health minion, so that would take some quick math for sure. So optimally, you want this to be 1 health so you can work with Defile, but it's also a good side where the first and second ping of Defile will be 2 damage, so there is that benefit. And this by itself, 2 mana, 1 attack minion is decent with 4 health. So what other spell damage mechanic would this be good in? Like a particular deck this would be good in, we'll see. It's a pretty decent card, but I think Spell Shifter and the Messenger will see more play than the Royal Guard. But you can still put this in a priest deck with the White Lady, I think it's called, where it casts Inner Fire on all minions in your deck. Keyword in your deck and not in your hand. So when you have either of these Worgen type cards in your deck and you play Lady in White, yeah, that's the right one, Lady in White. This would be quite strong, especially the rush ones, where it can attack for 8 attack no matter what form and 6 attack no matter what form for the Warrior Guard and the Messenger respectively. So yeah, this will be good. How good is it in other decks? We'll still see. We can still buff this with Paladin for the 2 mana and 4 mana, even the Pumpkin Peasant. Be good for buffages. A rogue weapon for 4 mana, also an epic Spectral Cutlass. That has lifesteal. Whenever you play a card from another class, gain 1 durability, which there really isn't. Well, there is Undercity Huckster, but that's rotating. There is Ethereal Peddler, but that's rotating out. There is Shackle Collector, but that is also rotating out. The only card this really synergizes with, or even Cutlass gets support by, is Hallucination. There's a 1 mana spell, common spell, discover a card from your opponent's class. So having this be the only support for Cutlass doesn't really make it good. So we'll see if there are other cards that can support this yet. Thank you for watching, and I also stream on twitch.tv, where information will be in the description of this video. And please, if you are aware of Twitch, please give me a follow through there. And if you could definitely try to subscribe to me on Twitch, that would be really great. But if you can't afford that and you want to subscribe to me, please subscribe to this channel by clicking on the bottom right button. And if you want to catch the other videos in this series, please click on the bottom middle of your screen where the series will be there. So just click that and you can be directed to the other videos in this series. Alright, have a good one. Goodbye now.